Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of our Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for returning my daughter's birthday cake after I discovered that my wife made changes to it? I am 37-year-old man and have a 13-year-old daughter Olivia from my former relationship. Currently, I'm married to my wife who has a daughter, 16, Brittany. So, Brittany is the opposite of Olivia. For example, Brittany is a social kid, Olivia is introvert. The list is long, but they're just the complete opposite. Olivia's 13th birthday was 2 days ago. She loves chocolate and I decided this is the flavor I was going to go with when I contacted the bakery. However, my wife objected since Brittany absolutely hates chocolate and suggested we go with vanilla. I said no way because for one, Olivia hates vanilla and it's also her birthday, so she gets to have her cake with her favorite's flavor. My wife got upset and took it as in I had no regard for Brittany and that we should just choose another natural flavor instead. I shut that down and said no more discussing this because I'd already decided to go with what Olivia wanted. At the day of the birthday, I was supposed to go get the cake, but I was surprised to see my wife coming home after picking up the cake from the bakery. I looked at it and discovered that it wasn't a chocolate cake but a vanilla cake with small pieces of chocolate on top. I got pissed thinking they got my order wrong and was about to contact them, but my wife said there was no mistake and that she called the bakery the day before and made slight changes to the cake to please both girls. I was stunned. I lost it on her and asked why the hell she did that. She got defensive saying that birthdays are no excuse to show favoritism and that her daughter is watching and observing how I'm treating both girls. I told her off since I was the one paying, then called the bakery and explained what happened. I had the cake returned and replaced with a chocolate cake. Although this one is smaller, but it was fine. My wife declined to take part in the celebration and later we got into a huge argument where she called me controlling and selfish for returning the cake instead of using this opportunity to teach Olivia to compromise so everyone's happy. Now I'm teaching her to be selfish. I said that my daughter gets to act selfish on her birthday and that she, my wife, was teaching her daughter to be entitled. Word for word, and it led to a bigger argument. We're not talking as of now. Am I the butthole for returning the cake and not taking my wife's input into consideration? Next story. Am I the butthole for moving out because I don't want to help my BF out with the rent? My boyfriend, 26 male, and I am, 24 female, have been together for 3 years. We live in NYC and he makes over $200,000 per year, while I'm studying for my master's in social work and have no income. Right now I'm doing an unpaid, year-long internship 3 days per week, as well as classes 2 days per week. It's rare to get a paid internship in social work, plus internships are mandatory. I spend 12 hours every day either working, studying, commuting, or in class. My only free days are on weekends, so I have no time for a paid job. My mom helps me financially by paying for my MetroCard and healthcare expenses, but everything else I rely on loans. Before I moved in with my boyfriend, there was a roach infestation in my apartment, so I'd stay over at his place a lot. My lease was ending soon, so he asked me if I wanted to live with him. At first I joked with him that his living standards would go down since I can't afford a nice place, but he insisted on paying the rent until I finish grad school, then we would split the rent based on income. I originally wanted to live in a cheaper place in Queens or Brooklyn, but my boyfriend likes his current place and insisted I move in since he would be the one paying the rent. So I moved into his $5,000 per month luxury condo in the city this August. All of a sudden my boyfriend recently started asking me to pay half the rent, $2,500 per month. I was confused because he was the one who wanted to pay the rent in full. Apparently he was talking to his friends and they all think it's weird that I don't pay rent and that I was a gold digger. I let my boyfriend know that I can't afford $2,500 per month and he said I was leeching off of him, so I told him that he should find someone within his social class so he doesn't have to worry about a gold digger like me leeching off of him. I stayed at my friend's place for a few days while figuring out what to do. I called my mom about my situation and she is willing to help me out, but the maximum she can afford for rent is $800. I found some places in Queens within the price range, less than 15 minutes away from the city and a bus ride away from my school, so I went to check them out a couple days ago. I've been texting the landlord and my new roommates and I already signed the lease. I told my boyfriend about my new place and he got upset and asked me to stay. He said that he was willing to accept $800 per month instead of $2,500 per month if that's all I can afford, but I told him I don't want him changing his mind again and demanding more money from me in the future. He lived in this condo alone for several years, so it's not like he can't afford to live there without my help. I wouldn't mind splitting rent with him, but I would have to live in a more affordable place outside of Manhattan like I originally wanted. Apparently, some of our mutual friends think I'm being unreasonable for moving out instead of talking to him and staying by paying the amount I can afford in rent, and that I shouldn't have let him pay my portion of the rent. Update: yes, I did dump him. I blocked him and his idiot friends on everything. My friends also blocked him since he tried to contact me through them. I'm going to enjoy being single and never relying on a man financially ever again. Next story. Am I the butthole for calling my husband insane for missing work just to teach me a lesson because I didn't iron his uniform? Days ago, I, Sam with 3, was in the midst of doing laundry when my husband, breadwinner, works as a pilot, asked if I could iron his uniform before his shift. I didn't say yes because I was busy, laundry then kids' homework, then cooking, etc. I said I may not find the time to do it. He turned around and walked away, completely ignoring what I was saying. An hour later, he came downstairs freaking out, asking why I didn't iron his uniform when he asked me to. I told him I was busy and reminded him of how I didn't say yes to his request. He blew up saying that I obviously don't care about him displaying professionalism at work. It's just a uniform? It's not like it was dirty, just needed some ironing. He lectured me about how his work is important, and although I'm a Sam, I still should make his job a priority. He decided to miss his shift as a way to teach me a lesson and show me how my lack of cooperation and my refusal to help him out could affect the money that keeps coming in. I called him insane for missing the shift, and he got offended and called me a hypocrite for calling him insane and acting all surprised when it was me who caused this situation to happen. I mean, I could have taken some time off doing my chores to iron his uniform, but still thought his reaction was a bit much. Am I the butthole? For those asking why he didn't iron the uniform himself? Because I'm the one who usually do the ironing, and he said it's on the list of my house chores list, which's true, but I don't give it priority like other chores like homework or laundry. Next story. Am I the butthole for telling my sister to stop taking showers with her husband in my house? I am 32-year-old woman, my sister 28 and her husband 32-year-old moved in with us 2 days ago after they lost their apartment to medical debts for their child, my nephew. My husband and I are more than happy to have them stay for a few weeks till they get this resolved. However, yesterday at 7 p.m., I was in the kitchen when my husband rushed in and said that he saw both my sister and her husband walk out of the bathroom. They'd most likely taken a shower together. My husband said that it irked him, and I agreed that what they did was somewhat inappropriate. He asked me to speak to my sister on the matter, and I did. She got defensive, asking how this is affecting me or my husband in any way. I told her that it made my husband feel uncomfortable and would rather that they just take their showers separately. She started ranting about being overwhelmed by their son's health problems and not having some alone time together as a married couple, and found this activity as a bonding time to spend together. I apologized for how she felt but requested that she just do as asked. She got mad at me and said that I was being inconsiderate and she didn't understand my husband's hang-up on what she and her husband do. We started arguing and she stormed off to the guest's room where my nephew and brother-in-law. She's not speaking to me, but my husband said I did the right thing by speaking to her and setting this boundary. Am I the butthole? Am I and my husband overreacted to this? Some infos. My husband did not mention hearing anything, just that he saw them get out of the bathroom. And yes, they were clothed. It's the only bathroom in the house. They spent approximately 10 plus in the shower, according to my husband. Next story. Am I the butthole for only taking my nieces in and not their dad after my sister passed away? I am 33-year-old woman and my sister 36-year-old passed away a month ago because of cancer. It's devastating, in words can't express how we feel. Her husband struggled to pay off debts and has asked me and my husband to take him and my nieces, age 13 and 16, in for some time. I have to say that I'm not on good terms with him. We've had more than our fair share of disagreements in the past. He tried to sue me and my husband for my own mother's house, which I'm living in with my husband and daughter. But he claimed he needed money to pay for my sister's treatment, and this was the only way to get it after we, my brother and I, refused your help. It's a long story, but we're not on good terms. I agreed to only take my nieces in, but not him. He tried to negotiate this, saying his daughters are grieving and need him, their remaining parent, to be around. I said he could see them during visits, and that was it. My husband agreed with me at first. My brother-in-law showed up with my nieces days ago, and I only let the girls in but turned him away after he tried to talk me into letting him stay. We had a huge argument, and the girls went inside crying after their dad left, repeatedly saying they'll want him. My husband is backing out of this, saying we might be making a mistake separating the girls from their dad when they're grieving. My aunt berated me, saying I messed up entirely here. I argued that it's my home and I feel comfortable with him staying after what he's done. She called me selfish and bitter and said I'm making it more difficult for the girls who just lost their mom. Now the girls are quiet, but my 16-year-old niece keeps arguing about wanting her dad with them. My husband still thinks we're making a mistake and getting the girls to resent me to what I did to their dad who's grieving. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.